guys, you're back with Juzzy Evo X, and today I'm just doing a short video about a problem I've come across recently, which I've actually fixed, and that is a loss of throttle response from my Evo 10. So doing some research on Google and on Facebook, a lot of people, for whatever reason, lose acceleration in their car when they're really low in second or first gear. Basically, you'll be driving along, just putting along in traffic, bumper to bumper, very slowly, and then all of a sudden you go to accelerate and there just is no response. It's as if the accelerator is not working at all. And lots of suggestions focus on either the mass airflow sensor being faulty, which is a legitimate thing to check, or to check the brake switch on the higher end of the brake pedal. In my case, for probably the last year or so, I've had this exact issue, and for me it tends to happen mostly in winter or when it's colder in comparison to when it's hotter. And what makes it really strange to diagnose though is that when it's hot, of course, you run the car with air conditioning on cold, and so inside the cabin it's actually cool, and so the problem sort of returns. In my case, I've previously had a faulty mass airflow sensor, and so I got that replaced through AK Racing. But unfortunately, for me, the issue was still there. So basically, with my case, the airflow sensor was throwing a code, and the car wouldn't idle properly or start correctly. So when I got a new airflow sensor, that sorted that, but then the issue I had with no acceleration in first or second gear went away, depending on sort of how hot or how cold it was, and then it sort of came back again. So what you can do to save yourself from buying a new brake switch, which I'll pop on a screen right now, is you can actually try cleaning it. And so this applies to all 2008 Lancers, Ralliarts and Evolutions. I don't think though that the problem really applies to the manual transmission, but if you're having the problem, it's certainly worth having a look underneath where the brake pedal is and seeing if you've got the issue. So if you have a look at this picture, you'll see that the brake switch has a white prong. So that white part basically falls back into the switch so that it's hidden when you let go of the brake. And when you push the brake pedal, then what happens is that white part extends out. Now, in my case, about a week or two ago, I had the problem with the throttle, and so I went under there and had a look, and lo and behold, the white prong was absolutely black all the way around the outside. Now inside that switch, there isn't actually any liquid, so what I could probably best say is that from factory, and just bearing in mind this is a December 2008 model, from factory it probably has the tiniest little bit of oil from factories, just to sort of aid with smooth motion of that brake switch. And for whatever reason, the switch was completely black. So what I can guess from that is that whether it be from just normal dust and grime that gets on your shoes, goes to the pedal, gets into the floor mats, just dust from having the window down and driving, basically that just circulates around the car. And I guess wherever you would have any sort of oil or, I don't know, some silicone, whatever, in the car, it will attract that dust. And over the years, that dust, because it is a moving part, sort of built up. And so as you can imagine, with that switch, that white part sort of protruding in and out of that barrel, any little bit of buildup on the side is going to resist the tiny little spring that's inside that switch from operating correctly. So what I've done here, I'm just going to turn a light on, is I've just put my seat all the way back. So it's a bit of a strange position to get to because you've really got to put your elbow in this area and reach up with your left hand at the top part of the brake pedal. And whilst you're pushing down with your right hand on the brake, it will then allow the white switch to protrude, and then you'll see if it's dirty. I actually cleaned this, 1 or 2 weeks ago, and it was white, and I've gone to check it again today, and it is slightly dirty again. So yeah, it's an awkward position to get into and check, but it's well worth getting in there, getting a wet wipe, and just wiping around that white prong, so that whilst you've got your hand on the brake, and then wiping it down with a tissue just to get any sort of moisture away from there. So I'll just show you that now, and as you can appreciate, it's very awkward to get to, but okay, so that is the brake pedal, and that is the brake switch. Here is the rubber stopper. Now, I'm told that Hondas have, particularly like 90s model Hondas and so forth, have a real problem with that rubber stopper breaking and disintegrating. But on the Lancer, no issue. So as you can see, 2008 model, and the rubber prong is perfect. Now this rubber plate is stuck to the actual metal brake, and the white part, if you watch just now, hold the phone, hopefully that works. I'm going to push the brake with my right hand and see how that white prong comes out. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very clearly, just trying to focus, but there is a tiny bit of dirt on there. So all you got to do is, whilst you hold the brake pedal down, you basically wipe all the way around that white part. And as you can see, I'm letting go of the brake now, and then it's gone back into the switch, the barrel of the switch. So yeah, push the brake again, as you can see it comes out. So for some reason, for whatever reason, the that gathers dust and grime, and by giving that a good wipe down, you can make that problem very much so go away. Now, if you get to the point where it's clean and it's still giving you an issue, then yes, you can buy this switch from Mitsubishi, and you can swap it out. So it's, as you can see, it's well worthwhile for the cost of a wet wipe and a tissue, just to wipe down that, see if it actually makes your issue go away, particularly on SST vehicles. And if it does, then great. For me, it certainly helped. And I think it's something that everyone should really check and make sure is operating properly on their car. So what you can do also is remove the mass airflow sensor that's disconnected before your pod filter or airbox in your engine bay, and you can just make sure that there isn't any issues with the wiring plug or any cuts in the harness going to that MAF. Otherwise, if you use some what's called contact cleaner, so basically it's like a very quick drying agent liquid that is expelled from a spray can, you spray it onto electronics to try and make sure that the airflow sensor is clean. And so if those two things don't work, then you really have to take it into the shop for them to check it further. But in my case, it wasn't the airflow meter, but the brake switch clean made a huge difference. So I really, came across this solution a couple of weeks ago, but just wanted to make sure that after trying it for a couple of weeks, that before I made this video, I was confident that it was a really worthwhile solution to try. So yeah, as you can see, I did this, just over 7 days ago. And in my case, there still is a little bit of dirt there. So give that a shot if you've got this problem. Give it a clean. After 7 days, just give it another clean again just to make sure. And fingers crossed, your car will be all right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.